Okay, welcome everyone. And Reb Schmidt, this is day 2. That's good. We are sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Yuda Aryeh, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, Yosef ben Tzion ben Yaakov Zev, L'Refur Shalema for Moshe Aryeh ben Binyamin, and for the schus of a great shidduch for Chayei Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. We are sponsored by Baruch and Lili Nishmas Yaakov Chaim ben Abba, Esther Bas Yona, Avram ben Shmuel HaKayin, and L'Refur Shalema for Liba Bas Anya. We're sponsored by A.B. Spry. We're sponsored for the spiritual, emotional, and physical protection for Yeshua Menachem Mendel ben Bela Shendel Rivka. We're sponsored by Mark Frankel in memory of his father, Yisrael Tzvi ben Chaim Yeshua Falik, and by Berish Gesman L'Refur Shalema for Shoshana Bas Adina Chana. Rabbi Isai, I have two important announcements before we start the shir. The first is that Baruch Hashem, this morning I received as a surprise. It's the first time in my life that I came to a bris and I was asked to be sandik at the bris. I didn't know beforehand. My new son-in-law, Moshe Schwartz, called me up the night before and asked me to speak, but he didn't tell me that he was also giving me sandikais. It's very special because I treat my new children, this is my wife's daughter, Devora, I treat my new children like my own children, and it was very special to me that they gave me sandikais, and since they did give me sandikais, I have vested in me the power to give you a bracha. So I want to give my viewers on Torah Anytime, my listeners on Kol HaLashon, the viewers on YouTube, and of course my Zoomers and every one of my dear friends over here, a bracha of Gesund, Parnasa, Nachash, Shalom Bayis, and Hatzlach and Ruchnius and Gashmias. Amen. By the way, the baby's name is Yaina. So, Kashem Shenichnas Labris, Kain Yikanas L'Torah L'Chupel L'Masim Tovim. The second announcement I want to say is a little bit clerical. I want to explain something that the Olam should understand. When I make an announcement to sponsor a shir, or I don't have a sponsor, I'm not talking to our Zoomers. I'm not talking to the people here in the shul. I'm talking to the hundreds and hundreds of people that are viewing it on Torah Anytime and on YouTube and on Kol HaLashon, that they should have an opportunity if they want to sponsor. It would be foolhardy and silly and stupid for me to be addressing a burden to the people that are listening, or the Zoom, or the people that are here. That is certainly not my intention. I'm talking to a very large audience, and an audience that's worldwide, and I'm addressing it to them, so people shouldn't feel a achrayus. The Rav it keeps on asking. Again, I'm not talking to any people in case in point. Last night, I said I didn't have a sponsor for the Chumash year, and Avigdor stepped forward beautifully. But today, somebody came and texted me. They also want a sponsor. So it comes from the Rebbeinu Shalom. But the Olam shouldn't think that I'm putting the burden chas v'shalom on my Zoomers. That's never been my intention. Okay, so yeah.
Please refer Shleima for Chaya Freda Bas Rachel Rivka.
Chaya Freda Bas Rachel Rivka.
And Mordechai Tzvi ben Roshana.
Mordechai Tzvi ben Roshana. And also
the Rav paid for the bris today, right?
And also for Nachman Yaakov ben Sarah and Aaron ben Sarah, two of our Zoomers that could use a very, very big refuah shalema. Nachman is with us here, of course, because Nachman, he's always with us. Wherever he is, he's always with us. Nachman, you are a true inspiration.
Zlata bas Esther Perez.
Zata bas Esther Perel should have a refuah shalem b'ser shecher Yisrael. Okay, we're holding by the new Gemara on Daf Samach Zayin Amud Aleph. So the Gemara is continuing this debate between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, where Rabbi Yeshua says that when you switch the Oila Sa'if to a Chata Sa'if, there's no Me'ila. So Rabbi Eliezer is persistent on not understanding this. Tanya, again we're at the new Gemara on Samach Zayin 67. Tanya, Amalei Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua, Asham sheshachtu b'tzafin, a guilt offering that you shechted properly in the tzafin, but you had in mind l'shem shlamim, so you deviated it from its designation. Yoichiach sheshina eshmai, you changed its designation. Umayalim bay, so va'af atal tatama. Therefore, you shouldn't be amazed, Rebbe Eliezer, ala oila, that oila sa'if she'afal pi sheshina eshma, that if you switch its designation to a chatas, sheyimalu ba, that there should be mila. So Amalei Rabbi Yeshua answers him in kind, and he says, although this is not Rabbi Yeshua's full reasoning, but Rabbi Yeshua says it's not a good comparison. Lo imamarta ba'ashim she'in shina eshmai, even though you changed the designation, lo shina es mekaima, you didn't change its place, you did it in the right place on the north. Timer ba'ayla, if you do an ayla as a chatis, sheshina eshma, you changed its designation, and v'shina es mekaima, you changed its place. Because while the ayla sa'if is supposed to be lamala mechuta sikra, the chata sa'if is lamata mechuta sikra, so you changed its place as well. So Rebbe Eliezer comes back and says, well, even if you change the place by the Ashim too, Amalei Rebbe Eliezer, Ashim sheshachtu b'darim, an Ashim which is kachim is supposed to be shechted on the north. But if you shechted it on the south, l'shem shlamim, and you changed its designation, yokiach, sheshina eshma, you changed the designation, v'shina es mekaimai, and you changed its position, and yet umaylan boy, and yet there's meila. So af atal tatama, don't be amazed, ala oila, she'afal pi sheshina eshma v'shina es mekaima, even though you changed its designation to a chata saif, and you changed its place to the mata mechuta sikra, that you should be maylan ba. Amalei Rabbi Yeshua, so Rabbi Yeshua again counters. Even if you changed its designation to a shlamim, and you changed its place to the darim, but but you didn't change the way it's done, because both the ashim and the shlamim, the blood is applied shtayim shnein arba, two diagonal corners. You didn't change its procedure. Timer ba'ayla, if you do the ayla like a chatis, sheshina eshma, you changed its name, be'es ma'aseha, and the way it's done. In other words, you do it like a chatis, that you're only shechting one siman and not two simanim. V'shina es mekaima, and you change its place where you put the blood. Amar Rava, so Rava said, v'neimalei, why doesn't Rebbe Eliezer counter? If you do three changes by the Ashim, Ashim sheshachta b'darim, that you shechted on the south, l'shem shlamim, and b'shinoi bailim, and you have in mind a different owner. Sheshina shmai, v'shina es mekayim, v'shina es maizav, you changed everything, and yet there's me'ilah. So we should say that the Oila Saif that you changed to a Chata Saif, there should also be Mila, even though you're making three deviations. Since Rebbe Eliezer did not ask that, Shmami no nochis Rebbe Eliezer l'tamei de Rebbe Yeshua, that Rebbe Eliezer arrived at what was Rebbe Yeshua's really reason. And that is that he holds that if you take an Oila Sa'if and you do it, you shecht only one siman. I also if you're supposed to shecht both. You shecht one siman, and you do it below, you're changing it into a chatas oif. And once you successfully change it into a chatas oif, that's why there's no mila. Said Shmami no nochis Rebbe Eliezer the Tamei de Rebbe Yeshua. The Amar Rav Ada bar Ava Omer Hoyer Rebbe Yeshua. Oilas ha'oif she'asa lamata, that you did the blood below the chut hasikra k'maisa chatas, as a chatas, meaning you cut only one siman, l'shem chatas, for the sake of a chatas, becomes a chatas. Kevin shemalik ba siman echad. Once you do the malika of one siman, which is the way you do a chatas, nimsheches v'nasis chatas oif, it becomes a chatas oif. Says the Gemara, and that's why there's no mila. So says the Gemara, why don't we do it the other way around too? Why don't we say iochi chatas oif nami she'asa lamala, that you do above the chut hasikra k'maisa ha'ila, and you do it like the procedure of an ayla. Mechi molik ba siman echad. Once you do one siman, you can do a second siman. Timashech v'tahavi ayla saif. It should be an ayla saif. V'chi teimachanami. And maybe you'll say that Rabbi Yeshua holds that it's vice versa, that you're right. It's true that way also. A chatas oif that you change to an ayla saif. Rabbi Yochanan mishum Rabbi Bana kachi atzah shel Mishnah. This is the arrangement of the Mishnah. My love kachi atzah v'sulai. This is the arrangement of Mishnah only one way, but not both ways. Lai kach atzah shel kula Mishnah. Now, the truth of the matter is, there's a very big difference. Because you see, if you take a chatas oif and you do it lamala, if it's going to become an oila, once you do one siman, you're doing it as a chatas, and if you do it l'shem oila, it's going to be puzzle, because a chatas shaloi l'shma is puzzle. So Rav Ashi Yama Bishleima Oilas Oif Sh'asa Lamata K'maisa Chatas L'Shem Chatas, an Oilas Oif that you do below like a Chatas with only one siman L'Shem Chatas. Kevin Dahoach Sheira B'Siman Echad, since a Chatas is kosher with a siman Echad, V'Ach Sheira B'Shnei Simanim, and this one is kosher with two simanim, but there's no oilas oif lamata, v'oilas oif lamata lesa. So kevin the malak bas siman echad. Once you do one siman, nimsheches v'nasis chatas oif, it becomes a chatas oif. But if you do a chatas oif, kevin amamah malika b'kol makom ksheri, you can do the malika anywhere. But if you once you do one siman and you do it to be an ayla, because you're doing the blood on the top, so kimalik b'siman echad ifsala, it becomes possible because it's a chatas that's done l'shem ayla. A chatas l'shem ayla is a chatas puzzle. Ki hadam malach b'idach siman, when you do a second siman, it can't become magically an ayla. Heichi mimshcha v'hi ayla saif. How could that happen? So there's a very big difference. Okay, now 4 lines from the bottom of Samach Zayin Amud Aleph. Again, you know, I'm full of announcements tonight. If you remember that tomorrow night we are not having shir. If you remember, I have a family wedding tomorrow night, and that's why we've been ahead one blot all these days. Remember last Thursday we learned 2 blot, so that there's no shir tomorrow night, date night tomorrow night, and the reminder that here in the shul there is no mariv no late Mariv tomorrow night. And Shir is back to 8 o'clock on Motzei Shabbos when we're going to have some hard Gemara. We're going to have a hard piece of Gemara. It's not for a long time, but the hardest Masechta in Shas, in Mishnayos, is Masechtas Kinim. And it's only 3 blot in the Daf Yomi, but it's from the hardest 3 blot. I remember, it's amusing a little bit. I remember that Reb Eli Teitelbaum, who was Daludaf, once called me up and said, Rabbi Weiss, I need you to do 3 dafin for me. And he made it sound like, Rabbi Weiss, you could do it, So I said to him, no. So he said, what do you mean no? I didn't even tell you which 3 blot. I said, Eli, you're a good friend. If you're calling me up for 3 blot, I know it's Keenan. And the answer is no. Because you're going to want me to do all the complicated things, and I can't show charts, and you're going to want me to do it in exactly 52 minutes. The answer is no. He said, Rabbi Weiss, what am I going to do? Nobody wants to do it. Rav Altuski doesn't want to do it, Olav Shalom. And Rav Izbi, Olav Shalom, doesn't want to do it. And Rabbi Rakowski doesn't want to do it. What am I going to do? So I said, Eli, you're a man of many talents. You'll figure it out. Does anybody want to guess who did it? Come on, Rabbi Isai, come on.
You had enough.
Well, I didn't do it, no.
Belsky.
Rabbi Belsky, that's who did it. You remembered Shelley, right? You remembered. Rabbi Belsky did it. And Rabbi Belsky did it off the cuff. That's what kind of a genius Rabbi Belsky was. Anybody that knows me well knows that I'm far from a genius. Now,
I think I disputed that just now.
Something I never heard of.
Kinim is about bird offerings. And the bird offerings come in a variety of a chatas and an ayla, or 2 olos. And they could be of 2 different types, turtle doves and pigeons. And if the kayin mixes up the women or the birds, sometimes in order to straighten things out, you'd have to bring an incredible amount of birds to straighten everything out.
To guarantee it?
Yes. The one who was in charge of the superintendent, in charge of the kinim in the Beis Hamikdash, the second Beis Hamikdash, Gedalia, you know this. Who was in charge of the kinim in the second Beis Hamikdash? It was Mordechai. Mordechai HaTzadik. Mordechai gave up the position of prime minister and went, it says in the Mishnah, that Psachia ala kinim. And Psachia was none other than Mordechai. Mordechai, so it's one of the hardest areas in Shas. So, when somebody like Avigdor is not available, so, so anyway, so we welcome in Berish Gessim and Yisrael Fisher and Dr. Guy and Marsha Castle and Irving Fishbaum, Yaakov Warman, Saba, Eddie Chazan, Ruvain Palak, A.B. Spry, Michael, Mel Zachter, Shalom Fogel, Avigdor Fried, Shlomi Schmidt, Shimon Klein, Barry Cement, Rebel Yayafi, Yitzi Fuchs, Shelley Zeitlin, Rabbi Kranz, Itchy, great to have you, Itchy, and Mark Frankel, Nachman Chapler, Nachman Yaakov Ben Moshe Lehman, Naftali Jablin, Stephen Holtzman, Ilya Shutman, Yitzi Muller, Eba Arbach, Yeshua Shmuel Eisberg, and David Helfgott. And here in Shul, we have Gedalia Engel, Chaim Kramer, Michal Avram, Danny Vogel, Yehuda Solomon, and Ruvain Shannon. Okay, so now, Gufa, 4 lines from the bottom of Samach Zayin Amar Aleph. Gufa, Amar Rav Adabar Ava, Omer Hoya Reb Yeshua. Reb Yeshua said that Oila Sa'oif, that the oila of an oif, she'asa lamata, that you did the dam below the chut sikra, kamaisa chatas, shechting only one siman, l'shem chatas, for the sake of the chatas, kaven shemolek ba siman echad, once you do the malika of one siman, nimsheches v'nasis chatas oif. It is converted to a chatas oif. So now the Gemara bombards this. And the Gemara says, oh yeah, Tajma. So now we start talking about bird offerings. In this case, we'll talk about two women, Sarah and Dinah. Sarah gave the Kayin one bird to be a chatas oif. Dinah gave the Kayin a bird to be an oila oif. So chatas lezu v'oila lezu. Also shtei and lamala. If he did both of them above, like an oila oif, so then mechza kosher, mechza pasul. Dinah's is good, and Sarah's that was supposed to be chatas is no good. Shtei and lamata. If he did both below, in other words, he did both birds like a ma'isa chatas, so machza kosher, so Sarah's chatas is good, or machza pasul. If he did achas lamala v'achas lamata, if he did one above and one below, because he might have done Sarah's, which was supposed to be a chatas, that he did like an oila, and Dinah's is supposed to be a oila, he did like a chatas, so shteim psulas, shani oimer, because I say it's possible, chatas karva lamala, that the kohen offered Sarah's chatas above like an oila, the oila, and he offered Dinah's oila kreva lamata. But now the Gemara asks, but according to Rabbi Yeshua, nehei nami de oila karva lamata, even though he offered the one that was supposed to be an oila below, well, why don't we say that once he does like a ma'isa chatas, it should be misheches and nasas chatas, and it should be good as a chatas oif. Timashech v'tave chatas oif. And the answer is very simple. Because over here, if he did the one above, if he did the one that was supposed to be above, below, that means that he did it for the wrong person. So although it could become from an oila to a chatas, but it's still the wrong person. Eimadam Rabbi Yeshua b'chad gavra, with one person. Betray gavra mi amar, but not if you're confusing two different owners. So now, another case. Tajma. Chatas v'oila. Sarah has to bring a chatas. Dinah has to bring an oila. Now, besides Sarah having to bring a chatas and Dinah having to bring an oila, both Sarah and Dinah had to also bring another pair of a chatas and an oila. So that means that Sarah needed to bring two chatases and an oila, and Dinah needed to bring two oilas and a chatas. So what they do is first Sarah brings her chatas, and Dinah brings her oila. Then ustuma, then they brought a pair without designating which one was the chatas and which one was the oila, and without designating who it was. And then umufureshes. They brought one pair, specifically a chatas and specifically an oila. Now, what the kohen was supposed to do is first he offers Sarah's chatas and then Dinah's oila, and then he offers another two chatases and olos. That was what he should have done. If, however, osan kulan lamala, he did all three as an oila. I mean, not all three, all six as an oila. So if he did all six as an oila, so then three are kosher and three are no good. Mechza kosher or mechza pas. If he did them kulon lamata, he did all six as a chatas. So again, mechza kosher, mechza pas. If he did chetzion lamala, v'chetzion lamata. If he did half above and half below. Well, this is interesting. He did half of the birds above and half of the birds below. Now, that's a mess. Because the first chatas and oila was specified which one is a chatas and an oila. And he might have got them wrong. And the last group also was mefureshes, one was a chatas and an oila, and he might have got that wrong too. The only one that's good is the set of stuma where he didn't specify which one is with. Eina ksheira ela stuma. It's only kosher the middle pair that wasn't specified, and we grant one to Sarah and one to Dina. Umischalekes beineihem. Says the Gemara, v'ilu mefurashin lai. But the set that was specified, that was one was a chatas and one was an oila, without saying whose it was, amai. Even if he got it wrong, and he did the oila as a chatas, nehei nami the oila karva lamata, even though the oila, when he did it lamata, it's not the right way. But according to Rabbi Yeshua, we should say that an oila that's done lamata l'shem chatas, timashek v'tavi chatas oif. So what's the simple answer to say over here? The simple answer to say is that this is not going according to Rabbi Yeshua. The chi teimah like Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Eliezer argues on Rabbi Yeshua. Says the Gemara, mi matzis amrit hachi. Can you say it's not going like Rabbi Yeshua? Tajma. Tajma. Ho'isha she'amra hari alai kan. I am offering a pair. Here she means a pair of olos, a pair of burnt offerings. Hari alai kan. Kan is a nest. It's two birds. Hari alai kan im elad zachar. If I give birth to a zachar, yolda zachar. If she has a zachar, she has to bring 4 birds. 2 oilas for her dedication, and also because she's a yoleda, she has to bring an oila and a chatas. So mevia shtei kinim, achas l'nidra, 1 for her vow, 2 oilas, v'achas l'chavasai, an oila and a chatas. So nasnasan l'kayin, when she gives it to the kayin is supposed to do 3 olos and 1 chatas. Hakayin tzarich la'asais and shalosh l'mala, 3 above, v'achas lamata. Loi asa kain, if he didn't do that, elo asa shtayim lamalo beis lamata, v'loi nimlach. He didn't ask, and he thought she was bringing 2 birds, two sets of oila and chatas. So he did 2 oila and 2 chatas without asking. Tzricha shetavi oid prei da achas. So the short now 1 oila. He has to bring another oila, but takrivena lamala. That's if it's mimin echad. That's if it was from 1 type. But if he doesn't know if she specified a pigeon or a turtle dove, then umishnei minim, if it's from 2 types, tavishtayim, he has to bring 2, 1 as an oila, one oila from a turtle dove, and 1 oila from a pigeon. Now, I hate to leave you off here on a cliffhanger, and it's not so smart. It really isn't so smart to put it off till Matzah Shabbos, but since, if you look at Samaches Amid Aleph, it marks kind of a daf, so we'll have a lot of time to explain it, so we'll leave it for Matzah Shabbos. And now, we're going to do the Chumash here.